thanks very much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Wait, I have to get my water here. Anin Nindoe Maganaduk, Nigago Kitamagas, Vine Sequay to go Makwa Dodam, Gawababani Cog, Ishkaniganing and Dunjibani Rich. Oh, there we go. So, as you heard, but I was just telling you where I'm from, which is the White Earth Reservation, which is in northern Minnesota. Do you all know where Minnesota is? Basically, a few lakes over. Pretty much, right? A few lakes over it is. And my reservation is in the western portion of it, and I'm Anishinaabe, as you gathered. I'm a Bear Clan. But I'm very honored to be here with you. I was real excited when you all asked me. I've been trying to come up here for a couple years, and just thankful to be here and support you all in the good work you're doing, and encourage you. And that's why I come. I know we all have busy lives, and we interact with different people. I was laughing because this week I was with this guy. We might as well just call the guy Eeyore. I don't know if you know any people you work with like this. And it's like, there's not going to be enough maple syrup. It's too hard, and on and on and on. And you are far more enlightened. Thank you. Thank you for letting me join you and the people that are struggling and have a bigger consciousness than that. I was thinking a lot about what to talk to you about. I brought some slides, but I think that there are a few things that I just wanted to share with you. You may know a little bit about my experience in organizing work. I try to do the best I can. And I thought I would just talk to you a little bit about that and share with you some ideas I had overall to start with. The four basic things I wanted to talk to you about are kind of how you build resilience in your movement, because you got to be long haul. The reality is that these are systemic issues. You're not going to solve them in a year or two. You got to pace yourselves. You got to laugh a lot. You got to be happy. You got to make sure that you polish your soul, polish your spirit, and enjoy life. Because a lot of times people who have a consciousness of the situation that's going on in the bigger world, they get very depressed. I'm aware of this. And on the other side of it is that life is good. The Creator gave us this opportunity to be the people who are here now. We weren't here at some other time. We're here now. We're the people that got a chance of keeping them from chopping off the top of a mountain, diverting a river, combusting the planet to oblivion. What a great spiritual opportunity it is to be the people that can be in that moment where you can do something great, And I think that all of you are with me in that when we walk down the pathway in the next world, we want to look squarely at our ancestors and be the ones they're proud of, So I think about that, and so I encourage you to be strong in your actions, but to pace yourselves. I also encourage you to, my history, I'll talk a little bit about it later, but don't be wedded to a strategy. Keep your eye on where you're going. A lot of times, those of us who are activists, or I consider myself more just a responsible human being. I kind of, it's not that I dislike the term activist, but it presumes that is something that is not a normal thing to do, And because I believe that I'm somewhat conscious, I think that these are the right things to do, that what we're doing. Having said that, quite often we become wedded to one tactic or one strategy, and there are many that work, and you need everybody at the table quite often. I just tell you that, it's important to consider that, because I heard a Zapatista once say, don't become an island of political correctness unto yourself. It's lonely, and it is a tendency of those of us who are, critical thinkers sometimes to be those people, and that's not, it's not a long haul strategy. Also say, and these things likely, but I also say that in this, I always try to still be good to people. Sometimes when I'm battling these guys, and even in our communities, in our communities, these are small communities we live in, and I have raised 5 children. My youngest is 11, and I have strays, various, and there's more on the couch when I go home. But in that, my daughter, she's funny. I think it's the Cree side, I'm sure. Absolutely. But, you know, she always, you know, picks battle, falls on sword. You know, that's not a good long-term plan. You know what I'm saying is, it's like these people that you are battling with that are in your community, they may be looking at something different, but we are all going to be there. Our ancestors were hanging out with their ancestors, dancing. You know what I'm saying? And our descendants will be there too. So figure out how to be gracious in a process. Now sometimes that doesn't work out all the way. You know, I'm aware of that. I understand that there's enemy out there. I got that. But also I want to be thought of as, you know, in the battle that, you know, I just try to be respectful. So I say that to you. I don't know if that is of any resonance or counsel to you. But I reflect on that because this is long haul. And you're going to see those people again. You know what I'm saying? And so in that, when you're going to see them again, you want them to remember you as really scary smart. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be remembered as a complete asshole. That's just thinking on that, right? I'm going to talk about, you know, some economic analysis. I'm actually an economist. I don't know if you know this. I used to, for a while, want to be a lawyer. Then I figured I'd spend all my time getting my cousins out of jail for stupid shit. Which is why I'm not a lawyer. You know, but I'm an economist because I'm interested in the structural issues that we're looking at. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I think that, you know, the reality is that we are looking at a you know, predator-prey relationship of industrial society to the land. And we're looking at systemic issues that need to be transformed. And a broader analysis is essential when you're in a battle to know where you are in your terrain and how important that project is to them. You know, and it is, you know, and what's going on in the big picture. And so I think that you are all aware of that, but I just want to repeat that, because a lot of times when you're struggling on the front lines, you know, my own community, people get very myopic in where they are at, and in that sometimes it is, you know, you have to be present and be there, but this bigger picture, it also helps you, and you know, it is what it is. So that is a little bit of you know, what I'm going to talk about. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is resilience in our communities and what that looks like. So having said that, I'm going to talk a little bit generally and show you some slides here. I'm not sure how long this is because I never did this before quite, and I had to put something in here. But there's a booklet here. I brought just a few of them, but this is downloadable for free. It's called Sustainable Tribal Economies, and that's this photo, or this picture. And it's on the Honor the Earth website. So I just tell you that a lot of this data that I use comes out of this, and I just wanted to share it with you. But this is a guy from my community. Jonathan Thunder is actually an artist from Red Lake, but this guy is Nagani Benes, who's one of our elders or one of our chiefs from a long time ago, and I like this painting. But this guy, you ever see an artist and he does this painting and you know, you try to see what else he's got and nothing else is in the same, this did not work. But he's this guy and he's got the future there as well as the past, and I think that's a lot of what I'm, you know, going to talk about in this. So having said that, I'm going to talk about kind of the indigenous principles of sustainability, just for a few minutes here. And I think that most of us know those. But I say that because when I was an undergraduate, at Harvard, then when you wanted to study the art of Europe, you went to the Fine Arts Department. And when you wanted to study the art of Native America, you went to anthropology. In general, American, Canadian academic institutions entirely, as you know, create for a Eurocentric and industrial mindset. Indigenous thinking is not a part of curriculum. It is not taught in economics. It's not taught in philosophy. It's not taught in political science. It's not taught, you know. And I don't need to make the case to you that this thinking is valid. But I'm going to talk about some tenets of sustainability that I think have significant economic implications. So in that, we have a number of teachings as Indigenous peoples. In Anishinaabe-Moan, we would say, Gichi Tebwewin, the great law. The Creator's law is the highest law, higher than the laws made by nation states or municipalities, and one would do well to live in accordance with the Creator's law. We would say Nindinaway Muganaduk, which is, we are all related. This is reflected in our art here. This is a Gordon Coons piece. Most of you are familiar because you're from Canada, this kind of art. They don't see this in the States, you know. But this reflects that principle of Nindinaway Muganaduk. It reflects a couple of aspects of it that we are all related. Both you can see inside the spirit lines that connect all the beings. That's what I'm saying, because art is a reflection of culture and spiritual practice. And so I always try to use this because a lot of times, obviously, imagery is not reflective of our cultural values. We also understand clearly that within that we are all related, that most of our life, that most of the world around us is considered animate. That is to say, and there's many teachings about this in all Indigenous communities, but in ours, even our word for stone as Anishinaabe people, our word for stone, asin, is an animate noun. And so I say that because that means that they have life force, they have spirit, they have standing, you know, upon in their own. We are people that consider, a third teaching would be that of cyclical thinking. All systems which are sustainable in the natural world are cyclical, whether it is a hydrologic cycle, the moons, the seasons, the tides. Those are cyclical systems, and only sustainability is predicated, in fact, on cyclical systems. This moon in our language is called Wabagonageesis. I think many of you know that, which means a flower moon. I assume it's about the same in this area. We just finished Iskigami Zikigeesis, which is maple syruping moon. Did you all just finish that too? Pretty much, yeah. And then the one that calls after this is called Odemenageesis, strawberry moon. Mean Geesis, blueberry moon. The moon that follows after that, Manomenakegeesis, wild rice making moon. That follows that, Watibaga Geesis, when the leaves change color. Banakwe Ogeesis, when they fall, the leaves fall moon. Gashkadno Geesis, freezing over moon. Manadu Geesis Soon's little spirit moon. Gishi Manadu Geesis, great spirit moon. Nemebina Geesis, sucker moon. Sucker is a kind of a fish. And then, you know that, yeah? Do you have suckers here? Okay. And then Anabana Geesis, my personal favorite moon. It means hard-crusted snow moon. Can you say that? Anabana Geesis? Anabana Geesis. That's good. It sounds good too. The reason I told you those is a couple of things. One, I wanted you to hear our Anishinaabe-Moan. Another is I wanted you to hear what a calendar based on land and place is. And then I wanted you to notice that, I think you noticed that none of those moons is named after a Roman emperor. Is that right? I just wanted to show you could have an entire worldview that had nothing to do with empire. It was okay. Our other teaching, which is, you know all these, I'm redundant to most of you, but is that perhaps best said by the Iroquois, which is, in each deliberation we consider the impact upon the 7th generation from now. Because we're the ones who's here, you know? So I tell you those, and I say, this is a summary, Cliff's Notes, but I just say that is, those are principles of sustainability. Our industrial system that has come to live on this land is not that. Yeah? Instead of believing the Creator's law is the highest law, we live in a system which says that man's laws are the highest laws. And so what we do is change regulated, allowable levels of pollutants according to who's in power, right?